Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James, guys, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Look, we always like to try and follow up on stories here on the channel, so we will be talking a little bit shortly about Abdallah Sima and the latest that Philippe Clement has said about Sima and his possible return to Ibrox. We'll talk about that in a minute. Guys, just a reminder, if you want some football news, general football news about the Scottish League, the English leagues, the European leagues, about the Europa League, the Champions League, about international football, then please obviously check out the channel that I've launched, Owen James Football Channel, OJFC. That is over on YouTube. It is on YouTube, guys, so please obviously give it a check out and give it a sub. Right, so look, Abdallah Sima, what is the situation with Abda? Look, you know my feelings on Abda. I absolutely love this lad. I think he's a great player. He's 23 years old. We know he's still in that developmental phase. He can still be made better. He can still be, one of those players that very much fits the trading model. I think, if he comes to Rangers and is as successful as he was last season, give it a couple of years and he's going to be worth a substantial amount of money. His contract expires next summer, which obviously affects the value that Brighton can get from him. He's still obviously a very valuable asset for Brighton, who have a great track record of using the trading model to bring in players and to sell them on for profits, or at least break even on those players. That is their style. That's worked for them. They've done a great job. Caicedo, McAllister, Sanchez, etc., etc. And it's felt very much that Sima is a player they want to follow that tradition with. Now, Sima is the sort of player that we need at the club. He is fast, he is quick, he is direct, he's attacking, he knows where the goal is. He's a very, very good finisher. And we saw last season, didn't we, when he played? And yes, I know he had those injuries, and I'll address the injury issues in a minute. But I think, he is a player that, if we could bring him back to the club, he could address a number of needs for us. He can play right wing, he can play left wing, he can play through the middle. He has the ability to play in a number of different positions. And certainly, if we look back across his career, he's played right winger 42 times, he's played a centre forward 34 times, a left winger 23 times. He's also played in the left midfield, right midfield, and attacking midfield role once. Yes, the majority of his success has come as a winger. Interestingly, on the right wing, Rangers used him on the left wing. 27 goal contributions in 42 games, an excellent return as a right winger. And given the fact that we've signed Oscar Cortez, that could really lead to a very interesting attacking group for Rangers. I mean, could you imagine Cortez one side, Sima the other side? Maybe initially we start with Sima right side, Cortez left side. They switch in the game. They cause all sorts of problems. Fluidity, flexibility is the sort of thing that unsettles defenses. And with the likes of Cortez and Sima, that is something I think we really genuinely could do. In the fact that he has the ability to play both sides. In addition to that, if we have a situation where we need centre forwards again. This season, we had a situation last year where we had just Dessers. If Sima's there, Sima can play through the middle as well. He's good in the air. He's good on the ground. He's physically strong. His movement is very good indeed. I think on a different level to Cyril Dessers' movement. Again, he's a sort of player, if he was playing up front, could cause defenders a whole series of problems. Now, last year, he scored 18 goals for us in 39 games, which is just under 1 in 2. An excellent return from Abda. He has got that experience, as you've seen before, from Slavia Prague, Angers, Stoke. He's played in a number of different levels, and he is a very talented player. Now, Philippe Clement has been talking about Abdallah Sima. And he's spoken about the fact that Abda is very keen to return to Rangers, that he loves the club. He loves working for Philippe Clement. He loves the fans. He really does love the city of Glasgow, that Sima feels very much at home with Rangers. So, that is all very positive, because at the end of the day, what we need is players who want to be at the club, players that want to play for our club. Sima is certainly in that bracket. He is certainly the sort of man who does want to, play at this level, does want to play for Rangers. So he's the sort of player that I would very much welcome. Philippe Clement even talked about the fact that he sees Abda as a kind of son to him, which is, the relationship is obviously very strong between the manager and the player, which again is excellent news. Philippe Clement did go on to say, however, that there is one thing at this moment in time and one thing only stopping the deal from happening, and that is Brighton's valuation on the player and the fact that Rangers at this moment in time don't have the funds to make that purchase. Now, there has been reports in other sources of a £4.5 million asking price for Sima. Philippe Clement has said that the asking price is around £7 million for Sima. That's what Brighton are looking for, which is a much reduced fee on the 15 to 16 million that was initially talked about. There was even a valuation of 17 million when he returned to Brighton. So 7 million is a much reduced fee. Personally speaking, I know that 7 million is an awful lot of money, but for a player of the talent of Abdallah Sima, with the fact that he can play 3 positions all to a very high standard, I think is not really a huge risk for me. So, I personally think that this would be a great move for the club. It would bring in a player who is fast, he's quick, he's attacking, he's exciting, and I think could make a huge difference. The thing is, we just need to find some way to get the funds in place to acquire him. Now, I know there are concerns over his injury record, but I think, the situation with Sima, the injuries that he sustained, some have been impact injuries, not his fault. Others have been muscular. But the issue I think he has had as regards that is he has moved from club to club to club to club, followed a whole different series of training regimes, whole different series of fitness regimes, whole different series of ways of working. And, has been asked, I think, a lot of times to play an awful lot of games, which, as we've seen, does increase your risk of injury. I think if we had him at Rangers under Philippe Clement, with Clement's work on fitness, with Clement's changes that he's made on the medical side, we'll look into that and we'll bring you some news on that in the video tomorrow morning. But, I think he would perhaps eliminate those injury issues that he's had, and he would be in a place to really go on and excel for the club. So for me, speaking personally, I think we can overcome those injury issues. I don't think they're as big a concern as has been made out at times. But like I said, what is stopping this deal from happening? It's quite clear the club Clement and Koppen want to make it happen, is the lack of money and the fact that Brighton's asking price of 7 million is not obtainable to Rangers at this time, which of course does run the risk of him being picked up by another club, which obviously is always the concern. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like I said, personally, I would love it if we could get him back. Love it. Right, guys, thanks for watching. On the way out, please obviously smash the sub. And as always, the 2 things I always ask of you. Number 1, smash that like. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.